Okay, we have a quorum, so let's go ahead and begin. I want to welcome everyone. There are several announcements that are posted on the screen for those of you who are attending today's meeting, so please read those. And please remember, when you approach the podium to speak to the Commission, will you please sign in by stating your name and address for the record. We would appreciate that. And today we have a new staff administrator, so I'd like to introduce Jennifer Swan. Jennifer, stand. Say hello. Jennifer. Welcome. Yay. Welcome. And so, Jennifer, your first official responsibility today is to conduct the roll call. So will you please call the roll?
Go, Jennifer.
Commissioner Bailey. Commissioner Booker.
Present.
Commissioner Chambers.
Present.
Commissioner Cooper.
Oh, I answered the wrong person. I think I answered for Scott Booker.
Yes.
I'm Commissioner Cooper.
Commissioner DeLisi.
He's not present yet.
They rhyme.
Well, it's only because I can't hear.
Okay.
Commissioner DeLisi.
Here.
Commissioner Eichmann.
Here.
Commissioner Hassenbeck.
Present.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Kovash.
Here.
Commissioner Loftus. Commissioner Owens.
Here.
Commissioner Seward.
Here.
Commissioner Sweeney.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Commissioner Yosef.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So we're going to move to item 2, approval of the minutes for February 19th, 2018. Hopefully everyone has had time to review the meeting summary that was distributed in advance of the meeting. If so, I would entertain a motion and a second.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Seward and second by Commissioner Kovash. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign? Thank you. Minutes are passed. So, take a note here. Okay, moving to item 3, items for discussion and action. The 6-month report on, item A, 6-month report on curated rotating mural project for the Plaza Alley walls for the following sites. And I think you see them all listed above, sites 1 through 8, so I'm not going to list them all individually. And here to make the presentation by Oklahoma Mural Syndicate Curator, Chris Canale. Welcome, Chris. Would you go ahead?
Thank you.
Give us a report.
Welcome, Commissioner Williams. We're thrilled to see you on the panel. So Plaza Walls report, March 19th. Here we are going into our 3rd year, which is really exciting. I know many of you were there at the dawn of our project, so you know all of the kind of growing pains that we've had and all of the success and struggles and challenges, so we're really thrilled to be here. Do you want to make that full view? Can you do that? Go up to view. Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, if you go to view, you can do full frame, full screen mode. There you go. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it does, right? Yeah, no distracting, menu around you. Okay, so we started in 2015. Since then, we're proud to say that we've been able to facilitate over 100 murals, engage over 80 artists. We've been inducted into the Google Cultural Institute, and we've started a nonprofit that is solely dedicated to public art. So we're really excited about all of those accomplishments. Excuse me. Just a little recap on last year. Our big event every year is our annual expo. Last year's Mural Expo was powered by Google. That was the first time that we were engaged with them. And we were able to paint 20 murals in about 3 days with 22 artists. And we had over around 30,000 attendees that came through with the Plaza District Festival. Just a couple images from those murals. You can see A lot of them were somewhat challenging. We had artists that painted around electrical wiring, electrical boxes. What we love about that is that it just completely disappears, utilizing every inch of the space that we have. A lot of fun, diverse artistic styles. We also had one of our big first street art celebrities come in. We had Wayne from New York. He was an excellent addition to our programming. He was out there with kids, helping them spray paint and all of that. It was really neat to see a true kind of Bronx New Yorker out there interacting with all the Oklahomans. It was a lot of fun. We also had Chris Foxworth from Kansas City. He debuted his This Is Really Happening, kind of typography-centric mural. We had Tanner Frady and Ashley Viking, who painted the Let's Go to the Plaza mural, which ran for about 6 months, sponsored by Dunlop Cotting. Everyone loved that. It was a huge crowd favorite. Like I said, we are inducted into the Google Culture Institute. So this is the front page of our exhibit as you enter one of the stories. You can see there we're highlighted as the Oklahoma Mural Syndicate, and Plaza Walls is one of our projects. So we now have 2 exhibits on that website. You can read all about us. You can go through a whole bunch of beautiful images. They have captions kind of documenting all of the murals that have taken place. We have plans to, of course, add more to that over the course of this year. We will also be incorporating a Street View from Google. They sent the Street View team through there with the backpacks and the 360 cameras. So you'll be able to get on Google Maps and kind of walk through the project virtually. So that's really exciting. A couple highlights that we're noticing is if you Google Oklahoma Murals, Oklahoma Mural Syndicate and the Plaza Walls has a very dominant search result. You can see here if you're in Google, you Google Oklahoma or search for Oklahoma Murals. We pop up as Plaza Walls and the Oklahoma Mural Syndicate, and we are the top results on the first page, which is really exciting. It's a big accomplishment for us. So our 2018 roadmap is chock full of opportunities and events. So we have the Milk Crate Jam coming up, which is this weekend, where we combine hip-hop, dance, and art. So we'll have like graffiti artists painting walls. We'll have kids dancing. We team it up with the Everything Goes Dance Studio, so they have their hip-hop classes come out and do exhibitions. We have DJs, block off the street. It's a whole lot of fun. We have the Mural Hop, which is going to be our annual fundraiser, and then the Mural Expo, of course, in September. We'll be adding Google Street View. We plan to facilitate about 30 to 35 murals with about 30 different artists, and we're going to be expanding our exhibits on the Google Cultural Institute. We have a lot of opportunities for community and education outreach, which is a big effort this year. So we're kind of focusing on getting any type of elementary or middle school, high school classes involved. Teaming up, we just finished up a mural class with the Oklahoma Juvenile Affairs where we helped some juvenile kids paint murals, which was really great to, be involved in and hear their stories and struggles and whatnot. And I mean, just to have them, facilitate kind of teamwork and paint something together, and there was no arguing or bickering. It was really neat to see these kids that are locked up for a couple years paint a mural and be happy for a day. We have the Odyssey Leadership Academy. Every year we help them paint a mural in the project. Hearts for Hearing has contacted us. We're thinking about doing a summer workshop and tours for any public school or any organization with kids. We want to give free tours through the project and possibly some workshops where at the end of the tour the kids would have kind of a panel to paint. We're working with the Boys and Girls Club, meeting with them tomorrow. We've already talked to the Girl Scouts of America who want to, they have a community outreach program where they will do a beautification effort. So they're taking their funds from cookie sales, and they want to paint a beautiful mural on the side of West Nichols Hills Elementary which is great, kind of a beautification effort there. We're reaching out to Gatewood Elementary since they're right near the plaza, and McKinley as well. This is a photo from the Office of Juvenile Affairs mural that we did. It was a mix of spray paint and brushes. It was really great. The kids designed the whole mural. We just kind of helped them provide techniques and whatnot. A couple of the artists that we have highlighted, some of our anchor artists this year, our sponsored artist is Ana Marietta from Puerto Rico. This is just an example of her previous artwork. We hope to have her at the expo this year. We also have Amuse 126 and Merlot coming in from Chicago. You can see him up there on the scissor lift. That's kind of how big and monumental those murals that they can paint are. Again, like big celebrities as far as the art world coming in. Oh, and of course, Yannicka Fields, we're going to put him on a big public-facing wall. I think he's doing his residency right now in Santa Fe. This is an example of the Milk Crate Jam. This is what we did last year. Again, this is giving those graffiti kids a place to paint out in the open, celebrating their artistic career along with hip-hop and dance. You can see how we shut down the, it's a simple block party. We hope it'll grow, baby steps with everything. So we have MCs, we have DJs. You can see break dancers. We pull out the flooring at Everything Goes and put it in the middle of the street. Kids are break dancing, having a great time. Our programming, our budget this year is a small budget, but it covers, roughly covers what we need, which is $25,000. We engaged Google at the beginning of this year, just last month. Well, actually, that would have been January when we met with them. And they came on board for the whole season. So last year they just powered the expo, so this year they're powering the entire season, which is really exciting. So we are officially powered by Google. What does that mean? They've provided $15,000 for artist stipends, and we provide recognition on the large murals and recognition on all marketing materials. So that's essentially our plans this year and a recap of last year. Again, thank you for allowing us to do this. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Commissioners, any questions for Chris? Commissioner DeLucy?
Wow, you've done a great job. It looks really good. You said the budget is 25 and Google's at 15. So what are your plans for the other 10? How do you?
So Google is allowing us to chase other sponsorships, of course. So it's not an exclusive sponsorship. So we are engaging other corporations. Probably some of the similar ones that we engaged last year, like Dunlop Cotting, Paycom, Tinker Federal. So.
Are you 501c3 at this point?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Commissioner Kovash?
This isn't actually a question, it's a statement. I'm down in the plaza and hanging out and checking out the murals a lot. One of the things that we asked you guys to do was to remediate any graffiti, and that's something you didn't mention, but you guys have gone above and beyond, and even reaching out and helping with places that you didn't necessarily have to help. So I just wanted to make sure we got that part on the record as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Other questions? Commissioner?
Oh, I also don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I don't have the opportunity to go down to the Plaza District that often, but whenever I do, whoever I'm with, I sidetrack down the plaza walls if they've never seen them, and everybody has really been incredibly impressed. So I thank you for the work that you have done to brighten up the Plaza District.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a big team effort, so appreciate that.
Commissioner Sweeney? Would you please use your mic? Please. No, actually, you need to use the mic, please. Yeah. It's official.
Are there any bigger dreams that you have that you feel like you haven't attained or you would like to attain for the future? In other words, that you haven't mentioned today?
This year we hope to expand. I know that some of our permits are with the Urban Design Commission are expiring this year, so we plan to get new permits, extend the project. There are walls still available in the plaza that we feel would be a good fit to add to the project. But outside of the plaza walls, our nonprofit is doing great. We've engaged Miami, Oklahoma, with the Miami Arts and Humanities Council. We are helping them with Mural Festival in April, which will be the second one that we've done with them, which we hope will be an annual thing. So we curate the project and help them manage it, do some of the design, marketing, and social media for them. So we hope to add more cities and expand that way. So, and of course, hopefully get a grant or 2 or 3 in the door so that we can hopefully fund some of those projects. Yeah.
Good question. Any other questions, comments from commissioners? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion and a second to accept this report.
So moved.
Okay. So Commissioner Kova, or Hassenbeck, Commissioner Owens made the motion, and Commissioner Cooper the second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Chris, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Okay, moving on to item 3B, Barely Floating Chainsaw Sculpture by Ray Schultz, located at Quail Springs Mall, 3015 West Memorial Road for Black Bear Diner and Bear Tracks Holding LLC. And you must be Bill Eagleson?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Thank you for
Good
being
afternoon.
here today. I'll let you go ahead and present.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead and just sign in and present.
Okay, well, we're asking for approval to put, I believe it's 5, 6, 7 bears, wood-carved bears around the diner we're redoing there, the old Mimi's Cafe. And the first bear down in the bottom left-hand corner, the welcome bear is rather tall, about 10 feet tall, holding a nice big welcome sign. And up to the top there, top right, is I think there's going to be 2 bears up there, and then over on the left is going to be a family of bears depicted as having gone fishing out at Lake Hefner. And then the bottom left is a boat with a fisherman on it as well.
Okay.
There's the bears right there.
Okay.
I think we have some pictures of the ones we have over, we just opened a diner over in Midwest City. We have some bears out in front of that. We've got approximately 200 diners in the company, and all of them have bears carved out in front by a gentleman named Raymond Schultz from, I believe, Redding, California.
So there are photos of those in your packet if you'd like to see them. This has gone to the Sites Placement and Maintenance Committee as well.
Okay.
Yeah, do we have the photos in the slides? Photos
They're in their
are-
packet.
oh,
They
in
have
the packet,
a
okay.
separate packet.
So if you want to run through the rest of the slide, do you want to run through the rest of the slides in this
These are all the
presentation?
slides that I put up
Okay.
for the screen, and the examples of the previous work, though, are in everybody's packet,
Saw those.
if you'd like to see how they turn out, how these are at different locations.
Yeah, we've got a committee at the home office that kind of takes into consideration what goes on in the area where we have the restaurants at, and we have Mr. Schultz carve the bears to depict that.
Right. The firm did a lot of research on this location and what people around it, what the eventual patrons might do for their free time. That's why they came up with things near Lake Hefner, things like fishing, boating, and then the welcome bear is very similar to one that they have at the other city. This one's a little shorter and wider as the other facility. They show one a lot taller and thinner.
And over at our location at I-40 and Center Road, right down the street from Tinker, All the bears are in military uniforms and that sort of such,
Okay.
of course.
So commissioners, have you any questions? As Robbie indicated, Sites Placement and Maintenance Committee has reviewed and has moved this forward to us for this meeting for recommendation of the full commission. And I see Arts Commission, if we recommend the project, the next steps will include engineering review, application for permit through the Development Services Department.
One of the things that came up at the Sites Placement and Maintenance Committee is because usually when we see sculptures like this, we're looking at them for more of a public site or a site within a public easement. And it might be a little confusing to everyone why you're reviewing this. But you are, one of the roles of the Arts Commission is to review all forms of public art and provide recommendations to the other parts of the city. So a design review committee is looking at something, they want the Arts Commission to review it first and provide a recommendation. In this case, Engineering and Development Services is going to use whatever your recommendation is to then perform their service on it. So that's why it comes to you first, even though it isn't on a public easement, it's on public. And that came up at Sites Place. It's just rare that you see cases like this, so we wanted to clarify that.
Okay, Commissioner Cooper?
Where on Memorial exactly is this? Either what was or is currently there, or what's being replaced by this restaurant?
Just to the west, May and Memorial, just to the west, the old Mimi's Cafe, right next to Abuelo's.
Okay, thank you very much.
Certainly.
Other questions? Comments? Okay. And is there anyone here to speak against the case? Okay. So let's move forward. If there are no other questions, let's entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Commissioner Seward made the motion.
Second.
And second by Commissioner Hassenbeck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. It's passed. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Moving forward to item 3C, additional pre-qualified pool artist for the projects under $25,000, and this is for the years, these artists would be in the pool 2018 to 2020. And Randy, if you want to go ahead and make the presentation.
Hello, I'm Randy Mark, Associate Planner in the Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs. When I first started at the city, one of the very first projects I worked on was writing the request for qualifications for the pre-qualified pool. Now, a few months later, here we are with our new artist having been selected. The call went out in December, and on February 7th deadline, we had 27 submissions. It says 28. There are actually 28 artists because there's an artist team of 2. But there were 27 submissions that were presented to the selection committee on March the 7th. And our committee was comprised of our chair, Liz Eichmann, also Commissioner Kovash, and Alan Atkinson from the State Arts Council. They reviewed all of the submissions, and all of the artists were accepted except for one. A couple of artists were not accepted in some of the additional categories that they had entered into, but we ended up with 27 new entries into the pre-qualified pool. Of these people, 11 are from Oklahoma City, 5 from Tulsa, 2 from Edmond, 2 from Norman, 1 each from Bethany, Stillwater, Medicine Park, New Hampshire, Texas, Virginia, and Arizona. So we have pretty good coverage around the country, actually, with people in our pool. 2 of the artists were juried into 3 categories. One was juried into 2 categories. 2 of the artists are city employees, which means that they will not be eligible for city projects except under very specific circumstances, and we're working with Rita on defining those areas where those individuals can be involved. But we felt like that they shouldn't be excluded from being exposed to the public the way that the other artists are available to members of the public who are searching for artists. And I'll just make a mention that the PDF of the artist pool is available on the city website, and it's available for anybody to go and see there at any time. So we'll look at the new artist in the art handler category. The current artists, or the ones that were already in the pool, their names are in green: Paul Bagley, Clint Howard, Clint Shore, and then new artist group juried in is Artemis Art Handling. They're out of Texas, and we've already talked to them about a potential project in the city. Curatorial and Arts Selection Services, Era Gavigan, Kelsey Carper, Sonny Mercer, and then new Tony Morton of Chasm Gallery. You might remember Chasm, that recently closed on 16th Street in the plaza. Also Laura Warner, who a few of you might have heard of at some point. In murals, a very strong category: Nick Bayer, Romy Owens, Bob Palmer, Chris Presley, Amanda Zoe Weathers, and then new artist, Molly Dilworth, who is, I believe she's a fellow at Tulsa Fellowships right now. Anthony Dyke, Scott Henderson, who is at Oklahoma Science Museum, Christopher Canale, who we just heard from, and Susan Morrison Dyke, Julie Robertson in Norman, and Chris Rogers from Tulsa, and Kodak Smith from Tulsa. In 2D, Stu Chait, David Holland, Mary Ketch, Cindy Mason, Steve Whitfield were previously in the pool. We've added to that Mark Barker, Erica Bonavita, Cargill Smart Art. Now, the reason it has an asterisk is because Chris Cargill is a city employee. He's on the police force, and his art partner, Don Martin, works with him under this term, under the name of their company, Cargill Smart Art. Again, Tony Dyke and Susan Morrison Dyke, Liz Roth at OSU, Jason Wortham lives down at Medicine Park. And in 3D, Art Form, Paul Bagley again, Rick and Tracy Bewley, Jim Gallucci, Clint Howard, Jonathan Hills, Todd Jenkins, Beatrice Majorca, Don Narcomi, Joel Randall, Colin Rosebrook, Shala Reynolds, Clint Shore, Amanda Zoe Weathers, Carl Wright. New 3D artists added: Brett McDaniel, Jessica Petrus. Jessica is, you see the asterisk again, Jessica is a set designer at the Northwest Optimist Children's Theater, which is out in a building out by Lake Hefner. So it was interesting talking to Jessica. I didn't even know that this program was offered by the city of Oklahoma City, that they have a thriving children's theater out there that I want to go check out now. LaQuincy Reed, Patrick Riley, Asia Scudder, currently in New Hampshire, but you remember that Asia lived locally for many, many years. Chris Wallard, formerly of Oklahoma City, now in Tulsa. Jason Wortham again. Bobby Zocades from Arizona. And then Mosaic category. Beatrice was the only artist in Mosaic, and we have some new additions, and you can see that our definitions are a little bit fungible. So Maureen's work is primarily fused glass and stained glass. Here's Susan Morrison Dyke, was previously in the pool and is back in again now, and also stained glass from Jason Wortham. And then a new category for us, new genre, Crystal Z. Campbell, and Chad Mount. So we had 27 or 28, depending how you look at it, new artists juried in with the 33 that we had in various categories before. So the pre-qualified pool is up to 60 to 61 individuals, and we have projects $25,000 or less that will go directly to these artists, saving the city a lot of time and money in doing searches for artists. Do you have any questions for me?
Good job. Okay, so if there are no questions, I would entertain a motion and a second to approve the additional artists to the pre-qualified pool for 2018-2020.
So moved.
Commissioner Chambers and Commissioner Cooper. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Moving forward to item 3D, artist agreement for Strong Neighborhoods Initiative project in the Class and 10 Penn neighborhood. I think this one presents, it's maybe a little more complicated. So Robbie, would you like to explain this?
So one of the things, last month, you reviewed each of these 4 cases and recommended them to go on for their various permitting. But one of the things that I said was that before they went to council, we would bring them back. So I did want to bring them back, not necessarily to explain them, and that's why the artists aren't here today, because you already kind of overly approved their project. But I wanted to fill you in on a little bit more of the details about each one, just so that later you wouldn't say, well, I didn't know that about it, you know. And so one of the things that I did not know all the details of then that I do now is there are 3 different sources of funding going into these 4 projects. And one is the Strong Neighborhood Initiative grant to the neighborhood, and that's a $15,000 grant. And then they did receive Mid-America Art Alliance money. They can use half of that money now. They already received it and deposited it in the neighborhood funds, and they won't get the other half until they do a report at the end of the project and they get reimbursed. So this is a factor in the artist agreements when I've been developing the agreements, because since the Strong Neighborhood Initiative money stays in the city, it doesn't go out in their account, all of these agreements have to come from the city. Okay? But they name the neighborhood and they name everybody's responsibility. So what is happening here is the way that the city always contracts is we give some up front for an artist fee, like usually it's half the artist fee, and then all of the materials up front because they have to go out and buy stuff to do stuff. And then usually it's an amount for permitting or any barricades or anything like that. So we have an amount up front that we're doing, and then we have an amount upon completion, which is usually the other half of the artist fee. And in this case, for the Mid-America Art Alliance money, we're going to do a reimbursement after reporting and after the neighborhood receives the Mid-America money. The other thing that they have going on is Current Studio has also raised an additional $1,000 that they will do a separate agreement outside of the city agreements for that. I did have an email back and forth with Kelsey today. So here's what it looks like. Because that email from Kelsey came after this was already prepared, I don't have the $1,000 in the Current Studio column. But you can see here, like for the bike racks by Beatriz Mayorga, she's getting $3,000 now. She'll get $750 from Current Studio. After installation, she'll get $600 for a total of $4,350. When this comes to the city, like the city will do an agreement with Beatriz because part of the money is coming from the city to the neighborhood to Beatriz. Because this project is under $5,000, the city of Oklahoma City does not have to take a donation through council, but we would like for the Arts Commission to weigh in on it. Like if this is you've already weighed in on it at your last meeting, that this was an acceptable project for this site. It didn't have bike racks before. The Parks Department participated on the place. So I think more today, just making sure that you know everything that we're doing and that you agree with it and you don't have any reasons not to, if there were any comments or concerns. The way the agreement is written is that the neighborhood will agree to take care of it, that they will do regular inspections on it to see if it's vandalized, and if it is, that they'll take care of it. When it gets vandalized to the point where it's no longer fit for the park or no longer safe for the Parks Department will notify the neighborhood, and if they don't agree to move it, the Parks Department will remove it and surplus it, if there's anything there to surplus. So that's the way we've chosen to write that. And that way the neighborhood doesn't have to put up front any money that they don't have to try to maintain it. On the 3 intersection murals, these, to make this point again, these are on a pilot period of 1 year because we've never done this in Oklahoma City, and there's a lot of upfront work. The revocable permits, right now the artists are working on all the utility letters they have to get. They have to order some barricades. They have to develop a work plan because you cannot close down an entire street at one time. You have to provide at least half the street for access. So they're having to develop some kind of a work plan that says, on X day, I'm going to have the barricades delivered. On X day, I'm going to do the east side. On X day, I'm going to do the west side. And here's your route. And then I'm going to have the barricades removed. They're developing that right now. And they will have to get that approved by the city and also distribute those notices to everyone that lives in the proximity. So what they're trying to figure out right now is we could mail that to everybody that owns a house, but we also know there are a lot of renters. So they're trying to figure out, do I do flyers and just knock door to door, or how do I do this? And so that's what they're figuring out. And then they will turn in all these materials in an affidavit for city council approval. On the, let's see. On
Bobby.
the one that says Cassie Stover Rojo, you'll see that her amounts of money are very different from the Cassie Stover Azul and the Holy Kids Clasp. And that is because she is not getting any Mid-America Art Alliance money now because the money is so limited up front. She's going to get the majority. I picked the 2 artists. I was trying to help them with cash flow because the project didn't cash flow with the limitations from Mid-America Art Alliance about having so much at the end after the reporting period. So we took the artist that had the 2 murals and gave her a lesser amount up front, but a larger amount at completion. And so I did want you to be aware of that. Right now, Current Studio is checking on insurance on whether or not it's better to cover all the intersections under their current studio insurance, or whether it's better to get each individual artist insurance because they're helping with that. You can see here with the cash flow, there's over $5,000, and it needs to cover all those things: the paints, brushes, rollers, barricades, notification clasps, and permits. So,
Peter, or
Yeah.
Commissioner DeLisi?
I was just wondering, so is it a defined perimeter that they have to get the approval, or is it every single person in a certain neighborhood, or how do they go about getting that approved? That seems
it's
like
within so many feet.
within so many feet.
Yeah.
So it is a defined perimeter.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kovash?
You mentioned that this is partially a pilot program, and I'm relating it back to the plaza walls. Will the Sites Placement and Maintenance Committee have any kind of responsibility to go out and check, like in the park benches, to make sure that they're keeping them up and that sort of thing?
Right. I think one of the things that the Sites Placement and Maintenance Committee could, if you chose to do that, if you wanted, like last time, I think each member of the committee was assigned a certain month to inspect and take photos. The other thing is, in these agreements, we've asked for them to provide photos on a quarterly basis. So I'm glad you asked the question. So I think it would be good, both visual and the photos, to be reported back in. Because I would imagine that each one will perform differently, just because they're in different locations with different types of travel. You know, some might be closer to a park that's used more than the other that's used on a different location. So I would expect them all to, and they might be different paint if they don't use all the same paint consistently on each one.
Okay. Are there other questions by commissioners? So, Robbie, since at the last Arts Commission meeting, they actually approved and recommended the art for the project, is there any action that we need to take on this today, other than...
It's more of a, do you recommend this to City Council under all of the reviews and the process that we've put together? Would it be a recommendation from the Arts Commission to the City Council to enter into both these artist agreements and the revocable permits for a one-year pilot period with extraordinary hoops?
So do I have a motion to basically Robbie's her recommendation, what she said, and we know it's recorded. So do I have a motion and a second for this recommendation? Okay. So Commissioner Seward and Commissioner Kovash, thank you.
Is that for all four? Do we have to vote on each one?
No, that's all four.
We
We're
made it
treating
like a consent docket,
Yeah, consent
so
docket.
it is more of a, on each
So
location.
one motion for all four will be sufficient. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Okay. No kidding. Moving on to item 4, discussion action on reports from committees. Item A, Sites Placement and Maintenance Committee. Commissioner Kovash?
In our recent meeting, the only action item that we talked about were the bears, and we've already gone over that. We did revisit the concept of monuments and deaccession, and so that's got to do with sculptures and pieces that are in inventory or that we need to look at historically where they are and what we need to do with them. And then we also talked about 1% for the arts at some of the smaller locations, either pooling the money or maybe even using it for programming, arts programming in the smaller areas. These are ongoing discussions, so if you want to visit with one of us in the SPMC committee, please do.
Okay. Thank you. Item B, Murals Task Force. Any additional report from Murals Task Force? You're on.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Thank you. Moving to item C, Commission Advocate update. I know Commissioner Bailey is not with us. Robbie, do you have anything to report from her?
Yes. Our Commission Advocate planned in advance, and so there are 3 different events that she would like you to help her prepare for on the advocacy front. One would be to send thank you notes to Eric Burnett as he leaves the city. His last council meeting will be on March 27th. And so what she would like to do is get every council person could write him a note. And some of you might have brought your own letterhead, but I also brought OKC notes if you want to be in this order. I'm cleaning out my floor. Various other beautiful notes. I'm doing a Marie Kondo thing where I'm cleaning out everything. I would love for beautiful notes. So I'm going to start distributing these. I'll start over here with these. If you would like to take one and write a thank you note to Mayor Burnett, if he received a Governor's Arts Award, not this year, but last year, or that recognized him for being highly supportive of the 1% for our ordinance that the city now enjoys, for helping to establish We hope that he comes in already to support the arts as he has been ever since then.
Robbie, wasn't David also a council commissioner? Yes.
And Steve Hill now serves in that post. So he also wrote a description of what the Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs should be when it was first established. He served on the Cultural Development Corporation, which was the developer of our cultural plan that we just recently completed. So there's lots of things to recognize in his well done thank you note as well. And then if anyone still has time, Allison was hoping that you might write notes for your state elected officials because the state Arts Day at the Capitol will be on April 11th, I believe. And I'm going to send all of you a flyer tomorrow by email, so you'll have it in your, if anybody cannot attend Arts Day at the Capitol, it'll start at 9 and run through 1:30. And it typically has an orientation in the morning about how to advocate with your state elected officials. And then it has open forum where you can go visit your state officials. Many people make appointments in advance to do that because they might want to drop by a few of their elected officials they might know. There's also packets people can pick up. There's a webinar coming up next week, I believe, or later this week, about how to advocate. So there's a lot of, if advocacy is something you're interested in, there's a lot of ways to learn, and you can call me or email me, and I can help point you in that direction. But Arts Day at the Capitol, if you're not able to attend, Allison would love to drop by your elected officials' offices and give them one of the notes you might have created for them. And I can look up anybody's elected state officials if you don't know it. I'll go to the, you can actually go on Oklahomans for the Arts and put in your zip code, and it pops up those.
So if we, say for instance, to our elected officials, state elected officials, can we, do you want us to, if we take them with us to go ahead and complete, should we go ahead and mail them ourselves or bring them back to you? Does Allison want to deliver them all together, or?
Either way. I mean, Allison was going to deliver them for you in person.
Okay.
If you weren't going to be there, I think you can do it
Either way, okay.
Yeah, I
Great.
can also email them if you prefer to send something by email.
Can we just give them to you after we, if we do them right now, we can just give them back to you.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay.
This was one of the things that she wanted to present to help advocate.
Great ideas. I appreciate Allison thinking about that. Okay, so moving to item 5, comments from staff. Robbie, any additional?
So there's a couple of things I wanted to make you aware of. One thing is the mayor's office has sent over a request that we apply for the Bloomberg Public Art Challenge again. This will be the second year. We made quick work with Oklahoma Contemporary. They are the only nonprofit arts group in the city that has successfully carried out temporary art. You have to be an arts group. So while the Myriad Gardens has carried out some temporary art, they're the only arts group that has. So it was more like a sole source. What we found in that is that they had already been working with American Indian Cultural Center on an idea, which we were pleased about. They had already been working with an artist team. And so I think they were making quick work on that. Last week we sent them 4 different geographic areas with a lot of description, because the idea behind the Public Art Challenge is that you transform areas in your city. So if anybody is interested in hearing more about Bloomberg and seeing what their rules are and their criteria, they expect magic to happen when you have their money. It's for about $1 million is what you leverage in private funds, specifically for public art experience. So that can be multidimensional, as you can imagine. The other thing is that we're working with beautification of Northeast 23rd Group. It's called Bone 23. They, right now, think that they have raised enough money for 2 murals along Northeast 23rd. And they are also looking at the Oklahoma City Community Foundation Challenge Grant. Also, we've been working with Latino Artists 29 La 29, so that's Southwest 29th. They're also starting a mural program, and as of a week ago, they received their first injection of $5,000 for that effort. And there's some major streetscapes that are going to go in, streetscape improvements along 29th, so we think that the partnering of the two is really going to change the way Southwest 29th Street looks. And then right now, staff is obtaining estimates to clean the Land Run Monument. We haven't cleaned it in about 5 years, and if you've gone down there and looked at it, it's kind of getting grimy. And the Parks Department is working with a consultant on a lot of erosion control, so hope that work will start in August. So hopefully the combination of the erosion control work and the cleaning will have it all bright and spiffy for the fall. So, any other questions?
Thank you. Item 6, comments from commission members. Commissioner Cooper?
This may have sort of been a semi-addressed before, and that is I wanted to encourage people to come to the swearing-in for Mayor Holt at 8:30 on April the 10th. While he was a commissioner, he was very, very supportive of the Arts Commission, and I think we should let him know that we're standing with him. Also, on March 28th will be Mayor Cornett's last Mayor's Business Roundtable. Several of us attended last year, mostly because Chris Canale made a presentation with regards to murals. However, I don't even know what's on it, but it was a very good meeting last year. I've registered. Hopefully it's not too late for other people to register. So it'd be nice to have a nice showing of the Arts Commission at the Mayor's Roundtable.
I've also registered, so I'll see you there. Any other comments from commissioners? Okay.
We have an arts commissioner that will be emceeing it, so I was asked to MC it, so
All right.
we're front and center.
Excellent, excellent. We're going to be well represented then. Okay. Do we have any comments from citizens? Very good. Then I would propose adjournment. Thank you all. We will see you April 16th, if not before.